All right, we're live. Dave's not here. He had to go home. He's got a wife that's demanding of his time. So welcome to the 12 Happy Hour. Thanks for joining us. Hamina. Like, share, subscribe. And if Head Trauma had a podcast, this would be it or something. We've got Holly tonight. Holly has been waiting patiently in the green room to come in.
I was in hair and makeup.
She was in hair and makeup. The hair and makeup lady did a great job on her, but failed on me. So we're looking for a hair and makeup lady that's more diverse in her capabilities, obviously. So tonight, lots of stuff in the news. We've, of course, got Israel and the Gaza Strip in the news. And that is a hot subject. I've got different thoughts, so many different thoughts running through my mind on it. So much to ponder on the outcomes, on what could happen, where it could go. This might be the circumstance that tears down the woke left religion.
Oh, the woke left is beside themselves right now because, I mean, they don't... when Bill Maher is trying to explain to people that this is dangerous. This is not only dangerous. I mean, I saw something as simple as Gays for Palestine at a rally, and I thought, bless you guys. Do you understand that what would happen to you in Palestine? This is what I'm saying, that this woke left, these people are talking about, this horrific acts. You see that Israel's being blamed for bombing women and children, and yet Hamas has their military bases set up where women and children go to school, go to hospitals. It's all by design. And they use that propaganda to gain favor with the worldview. And the truth is, Israel is the only country besides the United States that's actually dropping flyers on the citizens telling them to get out. Our fight is not with you. Our fight is with your government, who the Palestinians elected Hamas. And they are going to be fighting back. And here's the truth. And I think it was their president who said it. Israel's president said, if Palestine or Hamas quit and laid down their arms, there would be no war. There would be absolute peace in the Middle East.
If Israel
it's not two-sided. If Israel lays down their arms, Israel will fail to exist.
Yeah, they would kill everyone. And that is true.
To me, it's absolutely
there is a
horrific.
lot to talk about with that. My mind races when I think about this because I look at different avenues. So,
share everywhere?
Which one should I cover first? Yeah, I'm throwing the shares out, and I'm sure you've done a few shares. So
I haven't, because I don't know if you've shared where I'm sharing. So you're the only sharer so far.
Want. If they get shared twice there, they'll survive. Okay, let's go through the downsides. Let's go bad news first.
Can I start with the money that Biden just proposed go out in that $200 billion bill?
It's a downside for us. Well, maybe.
They want 60. He added Ukraine to the bill.
Oh, yeah.
That's supposed to be helping the war effort. He's asking for $60 billion out of this $100 billion request. $14 billion going to the assistance for Israel, and then $10 billion going to aid. Palestine.
Going to Palestine for aid there.
I'm sorry. Why would we be sending aid to the Gaza Strip right now? That's got our hands in both pots. This feels
Yeah,
a little bit like
I
how
was about to
Vietnam
say
started.
both sidism. How do I want to? I'll cover my thoughts on the possible downsides to this.
There's
Downsides for Israel to having militarized action. Number one downside.
for the United States, or
No,
as a
for
whole?
Israel, for the world, for the United States, for Gaza. If Israel goes into occupy Gaza or goes into Gaza to exact revenge, they'll be doing MOUT operations, military operations in urban terrain, which is bloody. It is bloody. It is brutal. Israel will be filling body bags with people. That's a tough one, and I don't know if they'll be able to root them out.
I have to ask, you say occupy Gaza. Israel is actually the ones who own that piece of real estate.
Well, Israel backed off. Israel
and they're
followed.
letting them have it.
Israel followed the two-state solution by backing away, which was, because Israel lost support around the world. Here's the other option. This leads right into that. After 9/11, this is a little, I'm going to make a comparison here because I'm not very smart, so I've got to do comparisons instead of inventing shit out of thin air. After 9/11, we had global support. But after our constant incursions and invasions, such as Iraq, such as we're going to change the whole political process of Afghanistan, we lost that support, and then we became a villain on the global stage. And I worry that Israel, if they act too harshly, might find that. What happened is Israel did occupy the Gaza Strip, and then in 2004 started losing global support, which is why they pulled out. They recognize that, and I worry Israel might jump in and lose global support real quick. But do they have an option except to do that? I don't know that they do. Israel can't let this go because it'll happen more.
They're comparing this three times what 9/11 was to the United States.
In raw numbers
In
comparison,
impact.
yes. Also, I hate to have to drag you into both sides, but the expenditure that Hamas gave doing it was like 40 times what was given by the people who pulled off 9/11, just in sheer numbers. And
I think
stuff they
this
had to
whole
do.
thing stops with the word Hamas. A known terrorist organization who's running a country
I
and
agree.
has attacked
I agree.
an unprovoked attack.
Yes.
And here's the problem. This isn't because they
And-
disagree politically. This
This because
is
they want to kill them.
They want to kill them. It's in their creed.
And this isn't a one for one. I'm looking at this from I'm trying to, because what do I want emotionally? I want Israel to show Hamas how strong they are. But if I take emotions out of it, I think that stands a large chance of ruining Israel's reputation around the world, and possibly now upsides.
Wait, you're not even finishing your sentences here, because this isn't. I mean, I want them to stand up, but this could be the beginning of World War III that we are in.
Could be.
And the truth is, Israel deserves to defend themselves.
100%.
Absolute. And when you have other countries in the Middle East not willing to take on Palestinian refugees,
That's because Palestinians are troublemakers. Ask Lebanon.
ask Egypt. They don't want them. Jordan
No,
doesn't
Egypt
want
doesn't,
them.
but Lebanon doesn't, because Lebanon, the jewel of the Middle East,
Making noises.
the jewel of the Middle East is gone because of Palestinians.
That right there. Here's how I see it, and this is what I understand. People are getting canceled for showing support towards Israel. I feel like we're watching a modern day attempt at a Holocaust. We've been threatened by Iran that if we get involved, yada, yada. Other countries get involved, yada, yada.
If you get involved, we're going to go throw our Navy at you.
We
and
are
then
watching
we'll lose it again like we did in,
citizens
87?
of our country rally in the streets pro-Palestine when what we have witnessed is a taste of what they want to do. They don't see Jews as people. They've been raised since they were born. Mm-hmm. All the propaganda in their lives is anti-Semitic. And here's the thing. Their mission is to destroy Israel and kill all Jews. Well, that was Hitler's goal in World War II, you know, in a roundabout ways, didn't make a perfect race, whatever. But he did it in secret camps that he lied about, that had to be discovered, and the atrocities that were committed against these innocent people were unfathomable, so much so that our military that went into these camps for the first time, many of them couldn't believe what they were witnessing, and many of them committed suicide. Talk about PTSD. I went to Dachau outside of, it's in Germany, outside of München, and the truth is, you go there and you feel, it's like being at a funeral of someone you love that you can't fathom. How does this little town that's on the outside of this camp, how do these people day in and day out live their lives knowing there's ash falling from the sky, knowing there are prisoners walking and doing chores and farming and whatever, and they're starving? And here's the thing, Germans were quiet because they elected the man who was committing these atrocities. And I feel like that's where the Palestinians have gotten themselves is here. They've elected Hamas to represent them. Now they're stuck with this representation. And Hamas will kill babies, they will rape women, and yet we are seeing it on the stage now, and you're seeing this, and if you think that it's okay to support Hamas by saying stand with Palestine, then there is a human element that is lost in you. Because that's basically, it was inhuman what Hitler was ordering this to be done against the Jews during World War II. It was demonic is the word. And what they did. And here we're going to see it. We're seeing what they're doing right now through the internet age, and you're getting to see it live. And when Israel is having to defend themselves on the world stage about where they're bombing, and they're warning the citizens of Palestine to get out because they will start to attack the actual buildings where missiles are being launched at them from, the buildings that by design are meant to use humans as shields. Innocent women, innocent children as shields. Hamas does that on purpose because on the world stage, it makes Israel look like the big bad wolf who is intimidating and hurting these people. And that's not the case. As you've just seen the video come out, where Hamas is the one that bombed their own.
Well, they're saying now that was Islamic Jihad, another group.
I'm sorry, Hamas is a terrorist organization.
They are,
an extreme,
100%.
And I should have prefaced this. I do not compare any of these terrorist groups to Muslims. I don't. The Muslim faith is sacred, just like the Christian faith is sacred and the Jewish faith is sacred. I don't believe that it might be the basis of these people's thought. You know, if you're not a Muslim, you're an infidel, and you should destroy all infidels, or whatever people are saying that the what is it? The Quran? Quran. Excuse me, I'm mixing up the Torah and the Quran. Sorry. They say that's what it means. I've not read it to mean that, but and I know Muslims, and they're good, kind people, but they also believe that the ones I know are here in America, and they came here because they wanted an opportunity and they wanted to have freedom of their faith, but they also they didn't want to live in fear. And I think that Israel is just entitled to create their holy land, a land that they had it before. I mean, they were the originals of that land, right? It was the Jews that were run out of there.
Yeah, the Romans run them out. Of course, they ran the Canaanites out. And I don't get into the philosophy of who. How do I put this? I am a believer in that circumstance that might make it right. Cut and dry.
Okay.
But I am not doing a pro-Palestinian talk here. Is what I'm saying is that I am worried that if Israel, I'm worried on two fronts if Israel invades. That one, they will suffer a bloodbath.
You think Israel will?
Yes, I know they will.
Because I'm almost of the belief that
Because
Israel needs to destroy every last member of Hamas.
Israel would destroy them.
Do you think they would use nuclear weapons?
No, but I think they would have, they can't. The damn place is too close. But they would suffer a heavy toll doing it.
Well, so would we, because we'd go with them.
Military operations in urban terrains are extremely tough, extremely costly. The other thing I worry about is that if Israel did it, as it ground on, as the numbers keep coming out of losses on both sides, yes, Palestinians would lose a lot more, that Israel would lose their support would lose their support internationally.
Well, they're a NATO ally.
No, they're not.
I thought
Israel's not a signatory.
Well, they're an ally to the United States. They have been for the last.
Yeah, they're an ally.
1947.
We prop them up, yes.
So we've already.
But they're not a NATO ally.
Well, we would already be sending them support. I mean, part of this bill that Biden wants is sending them support, and there are troops there. Troops are there.
We've always sent them support.
Right. So this would not be Israel against the world. This would be Israel and America. And I'm right here to tell you.
When I say lose their support around the world, I'm not talking that the rest of the world would rise up and invade them. Because
honestly, Israel and America, I'm done. I'm done in America being the world police.
I agree.
think we need to pull
Let me pose
that
other
back.
questions. What if the rest of the world stopped doing commerce with Israel? Would Israel be okay then?
Are they doing commerce with us?
Sure, but what if the rest of the world, because Israel does international commerce.
Right.
And we've seen how effective loss of international commerce is as a warfare tactic.
We're seeing how it is right now with Germany, and they're suffering with the war happening with Russia, with their pipeline.
That's what I'm saying.
But they still have us. You're saying
Germany's done.
Would leave and not help Israel, or would not do commerce with them? I think a lot of countries are suffering and cannot afford to not do commerce.
What if NATO voted to pull NATO support out? So NATO signatory nations pulled out, and then we had to make that choice.
I still think witnessing the atrocities we've seen thus far.
I agree with you.
The United States is.
I agree with you.
We have to stand with the Jewish people. They deserve to live. If we were ever going to get involved, and I preface this by saying we just got out of a 20-year war. Now we're getting back on the ground here in Ukraine. And can I just mention something? Has anybody even thought this? I thought about this the other day when I was watching live the bombing happening in Israel on the Gaza Strip. Mm-hmm. And I said out loud, I think, to my husband, have you noticed how much footage we've seen of this so far? And this has only been weeks. And compared to how much footage you've seen of what's happening in Ukraine and Russia?
Yeah, Ukraine's kind of gone dark. I think
Zelensky
is the big loser in all of this.
But you are spending your tax dollars on a war in another country, and not just a little bit. You're spending what percentage of our GDP right now has been spent so far?
I don't know.
And now 60 more billion, which puts us almost 300 billion in the hole to Ukraine. Your tax dollars. And yet you're not seeing not even a quarter, a percentage of what you've seen in Israel. Why? Why don't we have...
You know, we support Israel with money every year.
We support Palestine with money every year.
But Israel is one of our biggest
I'm
donations.
talking about just about the footage, just about the press, just about the information to the people. You're seeing what's
Because
happening in
our
Israel,
press is
but not
captured.
Ukraine.
Our press is captured. And Israel's the new thing. Ukraine had lost its luster.
When's the last time you saw any footage out of Ukraine?
Ukraine had lost its luster. It's not... A new pretty girl came walking down the street.
Oh, my word. I love that meme.
And everyone came out to see the new pretty girl. And all the old pretty girls are still standing there. They're just as pretty as the new pretty girl. But the new pretty girl walked by. So everyone's gawking out the window.
I think it's different. I personally have seen a few photos of burned down tanks and maybe campsites where Ukrainian military had gotten some Russians.
But that's probably shared by Ukrainians.
Yes, it's propaganda coming out of Ukraine. It's not live, and it's not our reporters.
Our media
reporting.
is onto the new thing. One, the Middle East is always the new thing.
I didn't see them onto Ukraine. In the beginning, you didn't see our media showing the actual fighting.
Well, they showed what they could. Remember the Ghost of Kiev?
Yeah.
That was a video game or something, and all that stuff. Oh, Snake Island, remember that? They did that in the beginning. So this is something happens, but this is the new...
I think it's by design.
The new pretty girl.
They're dumping money into a country, your money. They're dumping your money into a country, and a country that is absolutely... Who knows what Ukraine is doing? It feels like a big laundering scheme to me.
Yes, it does. And it feels like a big launder. Okay, so, but my concern is that Israel will lose international support if they go too hard, like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan. We lost international support, which to try to proffer some international support back, we supported France in Libya. How's that going? Anybody? Open air slave markets. They weren't there under Gaddafi, but we supported France in Libya to get over that. And France is in a whole shit show. France is losing all its traditional colonies in Africa now. We'll have to see what happens with France. But of course, they are the French, so they're eating a baguette with their goofy mustaches and being mimes, whatever they do.
Hey, read Ryan's.
So Ryan says the whole area just feels like a tinderbox ready to flare up at any point. Not to attack any of the Muslim faith, but historically looking at the area for the last 1,000 years or so, fighting like this is embedded in the culture. I've got a couple alsos to add to that. The Muslim faith got irreparably set back when the Mongols came a knocking to Baghdad. I think when you're set upon with war, it changes your society mentality. So, the golden age of Islam was destroyed by the armies of Genghis and then Kublai Khan. They conquered.
Are you seriously going back this far?
I am, and I'll bring it around. And then after that, of course, you've got the Reconquista with the Spanish, which the Spanish went to war, hard war. And then the Spanish, you could argue, which is why the Spanish went hard like they did in South America when they took it over, destroying the Incan Empire and the Peruvians and the Aztec Empire. I think when you carry that scar of these bloody wars. So Islam is still suffering a crisis of conscience. They walked into the 1200s being the scientific powerhouse religion of the world and got set back by war. And it made them radical. It made them cloister into Stone Age, or we'll call it Bronze Age ideals.
Are you saying that the religion itself, or are you saying aspects of their religion? I mean, certain countries.
Always aspects of religion. You can't You can't codify everything in one group.
But are you saying their Quran has been
the Quran is what it is. The Spanish did it under the name of the Holy Bible.
okay?
And it is what it is. But the Spanish went brutal, evil. Do you think the Inquisitions
Yeah.
were wrong? But they were done in the name of the Holy Bible, right?
Yeah.
I think when you
Religion is
go
such
through, it's not religion. I think it's when society goes through war, they become brutalized. They become desensitized. They become hard.
I can
Now,
agree with that.
I just don't want Israel to lose its support. But this is my other thought. I'm not telling Israel not to. I think Israel has to.
I don't think they have a choice.
I think they have to because they can't let this slide or they'll get more.
They have gone through this how many times to
And-
fight for their own existence?
Yes. Now,
Enough's
we've
enough.
got multiple groups over there that Israel is in friction or contact with. Got Hamas, of course. Hamas is in the Gaza Strip. We've got Hezbollah, which is right now, they're like, oh, this ain't us. They're up in the West Bank and in Lebanon. I know, Mally May. I know, 3 shows in one night. I'm a sick man. Okay, so you got Hezbollah. They're up in north. If anyone's not familiar, up north is where the trespassers are, the people who are moving out and setting up little enclaves.
Who is in Afghanistan that got all of our military equipment before they sent it to
That's
Iran
the
and
Taliban.
the Taliban?
Okay, the Taliban is a different animal. Here's where Taliban comes from.
Wait, I don't know if I want this.
Taliban means student. So Afghanistan had a civil war, a bunch of orphans were made. They got sent into Pakistan as orphans to madrasas in Pakistan, which is why your hair looks great, Holly. Which is why
Thank you.
they came back and they called themselves the student. Now, of course, we screwed up. We could have supported the Northern Alliance at the end of the Russo-Afghan War. We did not. We turned our back on them, although they were the guys that we funneled all of the war fighting through. We turned our back on them. The Taliban took over. The Taliban is radicalized through the madrasas in
And
Pakistan.
so who's ISIS?
ISIS or ISIL or the movement of Greater Levant was a greater Al-Qaeda movement after we tore down Al-Qaeda and we tore down the Ba'ath Party of
Kind of a marriage of a lot of different
we tore
scoundrels.
down the Ba'ath Party, which is the semi-socialist Muslim party that appears all throughout the Middle East. It's everywhere. It's kind of a greater socialist, greater Islam movement. When we tore them down in Iraq, they moved and kind of honestly, I would like to say they organically grew, but there are signs that they were kind of a creation of,
Remember all the wars that we had going on under Trump?
all of the same ones we had going on under Obama, but no new ones.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, do you remember the chord that was struck under Trump that actually gave peace in the Middle East?
Well,
essentially.
Okay, what it was a deal. Now, okay, the Abraham
Look, I'm being
Accords.
sarcastic here. I'm being sarcastic because I want to show there's a vast difference between what happens under a leader who is strong and who's willing to go in and talk to.
The Abraham Accords are one of my favorites because that's us trying to be a part of a deal that was already happening and had been happening for about, I think,
but the
7
United
years at the
States
time.
had to have a seat at the table.
We wanted a seat at the table.
Yeah, and we had one. We had a president who walked into
Yeah.
South Korea, North Korea. We had a president who walked in and talked to Putin. He had a president that walked in and was working with Israel and made Jerusalem this capital. I'm sorry.
know that the
what a
Ukraine-
vast difference.
The Ukraine
A
is
couple
not
years
invaded. Yes, and it
Ukraine
kind of
was invaded in Obama's time.
Yes, it was. It kind of makes you wonder if Trump just wasn't Raytheon's president or Boeing's president.
I think
You know what
Trump
I'm
was
saying?
beholden to no one. So, I mean, Trump was beholden to America and Trump.
Yeah.
I think that makes a huge difference. And
I think
I'm not picking a candidate. I'm still neutral right now, actually. And that's honestly,
Yeah.
I really want to see, how this all goes. But I think there's something to be said about a president who is willing to walk into places like North Korea and have a sit down with their leader, walk in and talk to Vladimir Putin instead of talking mad shit about him and telling everyone who the enemy is. He goes in and talks to them and figures out, look, I'm the United States of America and you're Russia. Here's the deal. Don't rock the boat.
He was a surprisingly good diplomat.
Yeah, and look at the difference a couple years makes.
I'm wondering if the difference isn't on purpose.
I don't know.
If
ISIS
it's not by
grew
design.
under Obama.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden under Trump, ISIS who?
Yeah, ISIS went away. I once heard, O'Malley says, I once heard DeSantis speak in person. I didn't think he was believed. I didn't think he believed the words he was saying. That swayed me to Trump. I'm wondering if DeSantis isn't a little bit autistic. He's not a good public speaker.
Well, neither is Mike Lee. Neither is Ted Cruz.
Neither is Mike Lee.
And I have to say that I kind of
I
like that about them.
I think Ted Cruz now
He's a lot better.
is very good now.
But
he went up against Trump. I think he was a good speaker then. I just don't think you challenge the king. Because Trump...
There's no way to challenge someone calling you names and belittling you.
Trump is a different animal.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
I think DeSantis, let me just say what's cool about DeSantis. I mean, talk about a game changer when DeSantis started sending immigrants out. And Abbott started sending the illegal...
Yeah, Abbott, DeSantis, when they
out.
said, you guys wanted them.
You want to be a sanctuary city? Okay, then give them sanctuary.
It's not just they wanted to be. They said what's that mayor of New York, Cruella de Vil. Anyways, she said she had that speech 2 years ago where right after she became or governor, not mayor,
yeah,
governor.
I was going to say the mayor's a man.
Yeah, the governor, Cruella de Vil, or evil stepmother, whatever her name is. When she came out and gave that talk and said, we want to take your immigrants, we need to house them. Remember what it says on the statue, or no, she said verbatim, remember what we wrote on the Statue of Liberty. Send us your weak, your homeless, humbled masses, whatever. And I screamed through the TV. We didn't write that.
Yeah, the French did.
The French wrote that. But anyways, she said that. And Abbott just said, okay.
Well, and like you said, O'Malley, you think they should be sent across the border. I fully agree with that. They should still be under Trump's rule where they have to wait across the border and all of that.
That worked well.
The problem is our own Homeland Security wasn't allowing that. They had to be boarded, and they were already busing them through cities all over the United States. The thing is, once Abbott and DeSantis said, okay, never mind, we'll send them out. They're not staying here. We'll send them to your sanctuary cities. I think that was a game changer because now there are people in New York City who are so disgusted.
Chicago is suing its mayor right now today. The inner city blacks are suing Mayor Johnson in Chicago, suing him to stop his support for immigrants.
These immigrants are getting a phone. They're getting $2,200 a month of your money. And they're getting a court date that's probably scheduled on their cell phones that they get. And they don't have to show up.
Well, they get 2 court dates. They show up to the first. They don't make it to the second. And the second is the one that counts.
Most of them coming across are of legal male military age. They're not families like you're being told. We don't know who's infiltrating our country. This is, in any other country, this would be considered an invasion. This would be considered an invasion.
Yes, they are the Visigoths, the Vandals.
Why aren't we locking up the system, just lock up the country and then creating and revising the immigration? Let's reform it. Yes, let's bring in people with sponsors who have jobs, who need green cards, who just want to come in and pick fruit and stay for the season and go back home and come back next year. Let's give them a pathway and have sponsorships for the corporations that want to hire them for those seasonal work. No, they have to reapply every year, and some of them can't. And it's absolutely crazy. We know there are businesses in this country that need them.
Yeah, that would like them.
And there are immigrants that want to come here, work for a season, and go home. We need them. We need them. Our economy needs them. It works. The problem is we've made our immigration system so jacked, so expensive, so long, and it's a joke. Of course they're sneaking in. Mm-hmm. We have created this a simple reform of our immigration system. You know who would show up to get green cards and potential citizenship in this country? Is good, hardworking families trying to escape that country. Or if they knew it wasn't going to be...
Even if they're not trying to escape, even if they just have an economic opportunity that works well with the business that wants to sponsor them up.
Well, I'm saying to escape sanctuary like they all are claiming.
Let's say, and it's not just fruit pickers, let's say a guy is a computer programmer and a company is looking for a computer programmer. You know, one that can maybe program a dual language app here in the United States. Let's say the other language is I don't know, Peruvian or whatever, you know. I think they speak Portuguese there. And they say, you know, we're looking for someone who speaks Portuguese.
You mean an American dream? Somebody who wants to start a business.
And the guy doesn't have to start a business. He just gets a sponsored green card. The sponsorship includes that the business is going to make sure that he sits legally on taxes. The business will even help him get set up with where he's going to stay, you know, the necessities for up here when he gets here. So he's not getting here and relying on the state, because that stuff's been dealt with on the person-to-person level. He shows up. Maybe it takes him 9 months to do the job, you know. And then if in that 9 months he wants to work around, he can start looking for another sponsorship at month 7, or maybe he wants to go back home and
let's say
apply his trade there.
Let's say in that 9 months he decides to murder his family, or I don't know, drink and drive and kill people, or rape somebody. Then we had the ability within that 9 months to figure out what their background is, and a background check,
who he is.
And we know exactly who he is. And you deny him, or you see that he's got a good, clean record and what his dream is, and he's got a sponsor willing to vouch for him, and he comes across. I think our whole country, we should always have immigrants. I think that's the best thing about our nation. But these people we don't have the beauty of that. People that are coming in aren't even getting vaccinated, and yet to get the vacuum in this country, you have to. But the people coming across the border, no. You have to have a job in order to support yourself and your family. $2,200 is not a lot of money, but oh my goodness, I can think of 10 people in my mind right now where that money would save them.
That would probably be a lot if you came up here, say, with a wife and a young child, and each body got that amount.
Think about it. That's taxpayer
they don't just
dollar
get that,
going out.
But they also get housing on top of that.
They get education. They get
$2,200 a month,
medical care.
$2,200 a month is pretty good if you don't have to pay for housing.
Food stamps.
Yeah. So, anyways, but that's derailed, and we know that this administration is actually starting to say they have stomach to deal with that, because they're noticing the backlash through their base, their party, and right now,
no, he's got one foot in both camps.
This administration is only worried about getting reelected. I don't think Biden is, because I don't think Biden's in control of Biden. I think that Biden's controllers, like on the Men in Black, when the person's head opens up and there's a little alien driving it, I commonly think of Biden like that.
And I picture him, there's strings on a puppet.
Obama's in there driving him. But anyways, robot Iden. I don't know. I'll work on that later. Give me time. But because I don't think Biden knows where he's at, what day it is. I don't think he's making a conscious decision at any given time. But just because, we know he is suffering from dementia. He is old. He's old. He's suffering from dementia. There's a lot required of a person to be the executive of a nation of, 360 million people. Humana. But they are concerned about getting him reelected because I think they've caught themselves in a mix where they can't drum him out for another Democrat because that makes the Democrat Party look like they lost some. And that also tells them that everything we said positive about him, like, the economy's booming.
Who said that?
The Biden administration says it every week when they put out the jobs numbers.
When someone has to tell you something over and over and over and over and over again.
Remember, we're under the biggest job growth in U.S. history. It's a great thing, but they can't do that. And Biden is the Democrat Party's middle.
They're not going to be able to keep him propped up much longer. And they could Article 25 him and put someone else in.
That hurts. Who are they going to put in? Kamala? The only person liked less than Biden?
They have. They can't. They're thinking of the California governor.
Newsom. But honestly, I think if they push Biden out for Newsom, that would hurt the Democrat Party, and they know that.
I think Newsom would hurt the country. Terribly.
Newsom is an awful idea. And they've got Trump clicking at their heels. And then you hear
Molly Mace agrees with me. Yeah. They're going to try to squeeze him in.
I don't know if they can.
But he's leaving a dumpster fire of a state in his wake.
They've already done the polls. If they bring Newsom in, by the loss of Biden, by pushing Biden out, I think they're hoping that Biden passes away and Kamala Harris gets offered a job.
They don't want
at a college somewhere that she says, no, I don't want to run. And I think they hope it happens like 2 months out so that Kamala...
You're talking like this is all a big question and all of that. I have no doubt in my mind the Democrat Party and the players that be have a plan for all of this. We just have to see it unraveled because honestly, it'll come January and Biden will all of a sudden get sick and he'll be not able to serve, and Kamala will kindly decline the presidency because they all are under strict thumbs there.
Because
they don't control the country. There's a shadow government controlling it.
And the polls aren't amongst the Democrats, though it does hurt them in the Democrat base. It's amongst the independents, the deciders. Now, here's what I think. If you want to dive down conspiracy land with Jared tonight.
I don't. What time is it?
I think our RFK Jr.
Oh, no.
is that independent stealer.
Democrats hate him. And
who did I just say is the decider? You know who's
say the
decider.
independents are, but how many independents believe in climate change? Believe that that's where we should be throwing our money into that religion, and he believes in climate change.
They're just trying to peel enough independents away from Trump.
That's
Hoping,
if it's Trump, because I don't want to assume
I'm not
it's Trump.
saying this is how it's going.
The Democrats want Trump in prison, and he very well could be.
I'm just saying that the constant laugher, I think, is a Democrat plant to try to steal independence from
So you
Trump.
think Robert Kennedy's a Democrat plant?
I do.
Why wouldn't they give him Secret Service protection during this time then? Because
why not?
I can't imagine a
why
Kennedy
not-
on a presidential trail
Why
needing
not
that.
act like you're on the outs to try to make yourself look more
Appealing to
appealing
the
to
moderate
right-leaning and moderate independents?
Well, just like him coming out and trying to appeal, look at Vivek Ramaswamy. I mean, he's coming out and trying to appeal to a more broader base. And yes, he's pro-Trump.
But he's also running as a Republican.
Running as a Republican in a sea of Republicans. But there's a few independents that could go with him. The problem, I mean, where's he been all this time?
I'm telling you.
I mean, this feels like Obama to me. Where did Obama come from?
Telling you, RFK is there to make sure Trump's
Can we
not
just-
in.
Can you imagine RFK as president?
I don't think he's there to win.
I couldn't listen to him for very long. I can't listen to Biden at all. I can't stand listening to, what's her name?
Hey, I like good comedy, so
This comedy
bring
is
on
our
Kamala.
future. This is,
Bring on. Hey, I'm telling you, I am black pilled though. I'm black pilled. It's okay, baby. I'm. Bring it. You know.
Kamala is so disliked.
We're here to do the thing, to continue to do the thing that we've been doing.
Oh, and I love graphs. Give me a graph. And ha, ha, ha. Oh, my word. I think that Biden could, or Trump could very well be in prison. The Democrat Party could very well work it out so that he is in prison. And I would hate to see that. I see that's weaponization. I mean, if Trump's in prison, then there better be Obama and Hillary and Biden joining him, because they all of them have got the same problem. And
Have you heard that they're trying to blame the Hamas attack on Israel on Trump? Have you heard that story?
No, I haven't.
That the IDF defense files were kept in his bathroom and he was selling them.
Oh, come on. And at the same time, they knew, it just came out, they knew while they were doing that raid that Biden had documents in his garage and in the college. I mean, this is laughable.
They're trying to
you
say,
can't make this shit up.
And here's the deal. I don't think that's true. I don't know. I don't care. It's just them throwing. It's just the media throwing Hail Marys. What I do know is that the IDF has been pulling back from the fence line on the Gaza Strip over, like, I think the last year and a half or last 12 months. They've been pulling their IDF on, leaving posts unmanned. And the reports, a lot of people are mad at Netanyahu. If you dig down the conspiracy, Netanyahu's been in a lot of trouble in Israel.
Well, he was out for a time.
Well, yeah,
he came
I
back.
don't know how they do their politics there, but yeah, he was out for 7 minutes, and then he was.
They do it like every 5 minutes, it feels like.
Well, just him. He
The
leaves,
re-elections and-
like he goes on vacation, someone else is elected, then he comes back from. But anyways, you know, he supported Hamas. He was a Hamas supporter when Hamas was going up against the Palestinian Authority in the Gaza Strip.
I don't know that. How do you know that?
Well, it's been open knowledge. Open knowledge. You can watch videos of him saying, "I support Hamas over the election of Hamas over the Palestinian Authority." A lot of people think. I don't know if I think this, but a lot of people think that he has been hoping for something like this because he's been in some legal trouble over the last few years there. Like actually possibly severe legal trouble. And this has sucked the air out of that.
Honestly, I think here's what I don't love. I don't love
This is
that I
from
feel
the-
like we're in a Wag the Dog movie.
Oh, we are,
And
but-
we're only getting fed information that people want us to see. And this is why we shouldn't be America's soldier. We should be, or to be the world's soldiers. We should be taking care of our own borders and taking care of what's needed at home and taking care of our people and our citizens who are suffering. This is a terrible time to be spread out so thin and to be involved in stuff like this. And all we've got is what's being told to us via the internet. And we've already learned that just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. We've also learned that just because these huge organizations tell us it's the best thing for us, that it's not always. And we also have learned that climate change is a hoax. I mean, it's a religion of a certain degree. Green is the new red party. And
it's a watermelon.
It's absolutely crazy.
It's a
and if
watermelon.
you watch the news, you will get dragged into this. If you listen to conservative talk show hosts, you'll get one angle. If you listen to left-leaning talk show hosts, you get a whole nother. And if you actually have to look at it and try to figure it all out, I mean, if you're not there in person, it's nearly impossible. And I said this before, believe nothing that you hear and only half of what you see. Never before has that been more necessary. Because of what we're seeing and being told. I mean, Hitler brought propaganda to the new stage, right? He made propaganda a thing, actually.
Well,
and here we're getting.
No, he copied us.
He copied it, but he really
actually
did a good job.
He
had a lot
actually
less
said
people.
he wished we had ours.
He didn't fail at it.
What about what do they call them? Freedom sticks. You know what freedom sticks are? Is it freedom sticks?
You're going to read what Ryan said really fast before we lose.
Yeah. Ryan said, truthfully, I would prefer that neither Trump nor Biden be the final candidate for election. Just too much shit that follows either of them. Granted, I will admit I am a Trump supporter. Hey, I don't know. I would like to see a good dark horse show up. I
would love to just see an American first candidate. I'm with you. I was a huge Trump supporter. I ran to be national delegate for Trump and I won, and I was so honored and excited. And I've seen Donald Trump in person, working with our law enforcement community at the police memorial in DC. And I watched 40,000 police officers give him a 5-minute standing ovation because he was unafraid to stand up for public servants and the military. And what's amazing is a man like that, there's not another one like him. And he did have a way about him, which I really had a hard time voting for him in 2016 because I couldn't stand the ridiculous name calling and all of that. But then I did vote for him, and he did make me very pleasantly surprised, because he was about American first principles. Now, if we could have a president like that, I would love it. The thing is with the Ron DeSantis, I want 50 governors that are like him. I think if we had 50 governors like him, the United States government loses so much power. So much power. We just need more state first governors and then an American first president. I just don't know who that is. And when it's election season, it's hard to figure out who is really going to do what they say they're going to do. And I think Trump does what he says he's going to do, not because he's trying to, I don't know if his political views were always Republican, but what I think he is he hates to lose, and he likes to win. And he thinks winning is doing what he promises. But these last few interviews I've seen with him on, Megyn Kelly, I was really surprised. Did you see that one where he couldn't say when she's like, well,
I didn't.
A woman is, and so what is a woman to you? And it was like deer in the headlights. And then he stammered through it.
Isn't it funny how that word, that question took over the nation?
But I'm like, President Trump, you should be able to have an answer for that. So easy. It should easily be something. She wasn't trying to get him in a gotcha question. I did not think so. And then another interview
talking
about...
Well, him and Megyn Kelly have an adversarial past.
But they'd made up. And he went on her show, and he was doing a great interview, and then she stunned him, and then he gets mad at her after the fact because he couldn't answer a simple question. Then the following interview I saw where he was asked about, he starts bashing Ron DeSantis and the heartbeat bill in Florida. Yeah. And yet Trump had, if I was helping him on his campaign, the man is the first president in American history to attend in person the Right to Life rally. Is partially and he touts about the fact that he got rid of Roe versus Wade. For people who are pro-life, we should be celebrating that. He should be celebrating that about states' rights, but then turns around and bashes a governor who creates a heartbeat bill and uses their power in the state to choose how they're going to handle that.
It's a bad move.
I just thought you shouldn't be fumbling that. Turn around and say, look, because of me,
although I am concerned,
have states' rights now.
I am concerned about all these anti-abortion laws that keep coming out that the Republicans are gonna be held back a lot in national elections. I'm concerned about that.
We're dealing with that always.
I know, but
I
do want to go back to Israel. I do want to go back there because this is an interesting thing. Okay, you got the Muslims, you got the Sunni and the Shia Muslims. Shia is Iran, but the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are Sunni, and then you've got the pretty much allies of Israel right now, Saudi Arabia, which are Sunni, and Saudi Arabia and Iran have been kind of the two drivers of the conflicts down there. And so there's always been a fight between Sunni and Shia, or Arabian and Turkish,
like
Caucasian.
since the dawn of time.
Since I think it was the son-in-law of Muhammad and Muhammad's
dawn of time.
nephew.
To you and I, dawn of time.
But anyways,
it's a tiny drop in the bucket of what we know.
But
in
it
our
makes
lives.
me wonder. I wonder
Still
if Israel wouldn't have a window to have Saudi Arabia go in and administer some kind of control over the Gaza Strip. Although Saudi Arabia does not want to deal with Palestinians.
They don't want to deal with them. That's the problem. You're not dealing with it's no different than if we were to say, like, let's go in and try to work things out with the Mexican government and we'll make an agreement. You're dealing with two specific governments with two interests who have a country to consider. You're dealing with Nazis.
Was the guy's name? I think his name. It kicked off. It's the Brits' fault. We should make the Brits deal with it.
I'm telling you, you're not dealing with human beings. You're dealing with people willing to massacre children, to rape young ladies, and then drag them through the street. These are not reasonable governments.
I think his name was Mustafa.
Oh my God! Can we move on from history? Let's talk about right now.
But history is why we have right now.
I understand, but I'm trying to explain.
And
you're not dealing with a government. Saudi Arabia doesn't want to be involved. Jordan,
those who don't
Egypt,
study history are
destined to repeat it.
Boom.
So I'm telling you though, Saudi Arabia, they've already given the finger to the United States. We've got BRICS happening. They're not about to add a P to their BRICS.
Well, Saudi Arabia is
what can Palestine provide them?
BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa.
I know that. There's no room for a P. So what is Palestine going to provide to any other country?
I think,
especially with this rampage,
what I think is it'd be cool if Saudi Arabia dealt with it for Israel, not for Palestine.
I think that if there was a way to get through to the innocent Palestinians who are victims of this government they elected,
that'd be great.
To get them to stand up. But what did it take for Germany to stand up? It took an invasion by America. For the German people to go, whoa, we didn't want this either.
Germany never really stood up. And the invasion that scared them was the invasion from the east.
I'm just saying, if Saudi Arabia were to go in and assist, that may bring Egypt to the table. And Jordan, you need all of these countries to come in and go, enough. These are people. You are people. You cannot behave like animals. And the Hamas is they're acting like animals.
Savages.
Savages.
Straight up savages.
It is so sad to see this happening in real time, in our time, and then to be told that, and to see crowds and crowds of people marching.
Now, okay, that's an interesting one I want to get into. What if, because you're seeing all these crowds of people that are pro, whatever.
Free
Hamas did.
Palestine.
Okay, you've got two groups in there. You've got the Stormfront right-wingers, which are the Nazi-loving right-wingers, which are minuscule, the KKK guys. There's like 7 or 8 of them. And then you've got the left, the college, Yale and Princeton. And
Are you comparing them to both be marching at the same time, or?
yeah, but the Stormfront just doesn't show up because there's only like 8 of them.
Did you witness the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol? Was
Yeah.
it yesterday?
Yeah, it was 3 days ago, wasn't it?
How many people were arrested?
There was like 1,000.
15?
I wonder.
15. Are they under the jail?
I'll bet they're not. I'll bet they.
Did you see what they did?
I'll bet they got brought a Coke and got let go. But anyways.
Oh, my hypocrites in this country.
But what if this is the nail that destroys this far left progressive movement? Because the nation's turning their back on them. Even AOC came out and denounced them.
Oh, kind of. AOC still got one foot in that other camp.
She did it as a politician, but
because the people of New York are saying you're out of your mind.
BLM did it. BLM came out and put up their crap. The Democratic Socialists of the United States of America, which is all sorts of a big long ass name that means we're retarded. That's a long way to say that you haven't had a singular thought by yourself in your whole life. Not that I have, but I just follow.
I don't think
people.
BLM was supporting the Jews, and is the problem.
No, supporting Palestine.
Yeah, and yet the Jews is one of the reasons BLM got so much financial support, because they backed BLM during that summer of love. They backed them.
You see how many people have pulled out of these colleges? How many people have... There was one girl that was the head of the Democratic Socialists of America from... Was it the chick from Harvard? She was interning at like this big high-class law firm. She wrote that letter of support, and they fired her. She was on track to be part of one of the biggest law firms in the United States.
What letter of support did she write for?
She wrote for the DSA. She wrote a letter of support for Palestine for the DSA. Well, this law firm is like Goldstein, Goldman, and Stein. And she was working for him and wrote. So it is wild. I'm wondering if this is not the death knell for these radical socialist progressives.
I want to know.
Like, if this isn't what destroys this modern day religion we've been suffering with.
If that's what it takes.
I don't know. It's interesting to watch this happen.
Well, they're eating a shit sandwich. And you've actually seen the Huntsmans pull money and funding out of colleges that they fund, who are allowing these rallies to take place, because they're actually calling it what it is. And this is a march to promote these genocidal activities that Hamas is doing to these innocent people.
Yeah. Oh, you cannot come out and say what Hamas did was justified or good in any stance. When they went into those kibbutzes and just annihilated families and killed people, when they went to that concert and the brutality they showed there, you can't say that was justified at all. They didn't go on terms against a fighting force or soldiers. They went in targeting civilians.
Absolutely. By design.
And just used extreme violence. And then they fired 2,000 unaimed rockets in that general direction. It's unacceptable.
It is. This is Hitler in real time.
It's unacceptable.
And we have to stand up. We have to say enough's enough. And what's crazy is look at Hollywood alone. Like, let's talk about Hollywood. Hollywood has so many Jewish members of the Jewish faith in Hollywood. And they have put up with a whole lot of the left.
So
and they
says
are
Kanye West.
the left. But you turn around and you see this and you're a movie star and you think it's okay to talk about Palestine like the Jewish people have done something wrong. I mean, we're in a
what if this
topsy-turvy world right now.
I hope. What if this breaks the progressive left religion that we've been fighting with? What if it defangs them? What if they have to go back to the drawing board and they shot their shot and they lost?
They still have their religion of climate change.
Hopefully that dies too.
And actually, ALC voted present on the vote to give money to Israel on their
Isn't
fighters.
that great?
And then she's like, I don't like the whites.
How many times has she voted present on crap?
And yet she's part of that group. How are you a congressperson in the United States and you're talking about this situation and Palestine being innocent? And even though you're seeing it live that Hamas is the one who bombed themselves and blamed it on Israel. And she's the other one is still standing up like,
well, Rashida Tlaib,
they are victims here. They're victims because they chose a government that will put innocent women and children in front of them when they attack.
I
Another
kind of
person.
expect that from Rashida Tlaib because she is Palestinian.
Yeah, but she's dumb.
I didn't say that.
And she is supposed to be an American congresswoman representing America.
Hey, I still am at a loss as to why she even qualified to run with those views. But I guess we should be a big tent nation that allows all views in. But
that's like somebody during World War II voting for Hitler publicly after the United States of America knew the atrocities happening in Germany. And them standing up and being like, I still think that Hitler is a victim here.
That still happened.
I know it happened, but this is a different age. I mean, this is the information age. If anything else, we're in the information age.
When we were gearing up for war, as told, FDR would carry around in his pocket a little paperback book of Mussolini's explanation of fascism.
Well, him and Mussolini were chums.
Well, he idolized Mussolini's idea of total government control, and it showed in the ideas that he put forth. But I've got more important news.
Okay, what's your important news?
World-changing, more important news. Not to mention, we can beat that to death. I agree with you.
Well, yeah, it's been a war fighting for thousands of years. I think that we could give
Israel has to do something. I just don't want Israel to. I don't want Israel to go away. But
you don't want them to get a bad light in the world stage.
Just like we did. How are we doing? We went from the great sympathy to the great villain in a matter of how many years.
But I think when you're standing up for right, it doesn't matter if you're standing alone. I think it's more important if you're standing alone. If Israel stands up for themselves and they get a bad light across the nations, the United States must stand with them. And if we have to be the ones selling them commerce, Trump told Ireland, you're not allowed to not sell to Israel. You don't get to choose. Remember when they were trying to not give any commerce to Israel? And Trump said, sorry.
Canada's been doing that for a long time too. How can Trump control Ireland? What, do we invade Ireland the next day?
No, but America quits using Ireland.
So
stops giving our commerce
So
to
you're
them.
proposing that we allow the government to have control, that
No.
much control
No,
over
I'm saying
who
that was
we
an
deal with
example
on a
of
public
what
level?
No, I'm saying that was an example of something that when someone tried to hurt Israel on the world stage, that we as their brother in this together to protect their liberty of religion, just like Americans
Okay.
want to protect theirs. Who cares if they decide to cut them out? They've got the United States for commerce.
But-
and anyone else who wants to do business with the United
But
States.
then we have to hold the U.S. people hostage with tariffs.
I don't think so.
Tariffs are warfare on your populace.
I understand. I don't think that necessarily has to happen.
Well, then how do you do it? How do you enforce an edict like that?
Well, what exactly are you saying would happen to Israel if they stand up for themselves right now? What's the negative impact that will happen to them?
I worry that let's say, well, just like what happened in 2004, the exact same thing.
Remind me.
Israel went in and occupied Gaza. They'd occupied, I think, from 2003 to 2005 or 2002 to 2005. And during that time, Israel lost its luster on the world stage. And because of that, losing its luster is why Israel pulled back in 2005. They pulled back. They left
What
Gaza.
does that mean? When you say losing its luster, are you talking about?
They lose international support. They lose, when they lose the support of the majority of the EU says, look, we're no longer supporting you. We're not going to trade with you. Israel, a nation doesn't do well standing alone in this modern world. And so Israel, all right, we're going to leave Gaza. What I worry about is that happening again.
And why would we?
Because
why would the American people not stand with them? Why would America not stand with them, even if the EU isn't?
well, some people tend to like us as a democracy, and
We're not a democracy.
Yeah, I know.
That's
but
what I have to scream at the television
I know.
every single day.
even as a democratically elected republic, we can change on a dime. And I would hate to see, one, the hatred of Israel become a voting parlor for a substantial amount of the American populace. That could send us down a track that would be
And I
disastrous
would argue
for us.
that we've had that embedded in this nation for a long time already.
Sure.
Anti-Semitism has been in this nation, especially in the government.
Sure. But also extreme pro-Semitism has, because Israel is genius. What they set up is genius. The smartest move ever. Israel set up so that if you are of our religious blood, you can become a citizen. We will pay for you to become a citizen. We will pay for you to have a journey over here and see the sights. We will set this up. Israel set that up. So right now, our Secretary of State is a dual citizen. They have set that up, and not only that, but they have the luck of being one of the smartest genetically group of people on Earth.
I feel everything you
Very
say.
intellectual.
I feel like they've fought for every single bit of this, and they want to stay alive, and they want to.
They're
They
genius.
want to keep their Jewish citizens wherever they live. They want to keep them with
You
their
think I'm
tethered
saying
to
that?
home.
Do you think I'm saying something bad?
No, I'm just saying what you're saying doesn't sound terrible to me.
I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm
Or
saying
that-
it's genius. Did I not say it was genius? Can I say it was genius again for you to understand what I'm saying?
But I get it. How is it genius?
Because our Secretary of State is a Jewish citizen.
Okay.
Because how many heads of major corporations and lobby groups in the United
Tons.
States are Jewish citizens? How many of our
But look how they
hold on?
vote.
How many of our politicians have served in the IDF?
I have no idea.
Lots of them.
But everyone serves in the
Including-
IDF from that are in Israel, right?
Including Barack Obama's head of justice.
His father, though. I mean, his father.
But what I'm saying is the system that Israel set up is genius.
It is, but how does it help them? now.
How does it help them?
Because a lot of these corporations are against them.
No. Corporations are coming out against the leftists now in droves.
Absolutely, they should be.
Their corporations are way pro-Israel.
Well, I think they should defund anybody who is coming out.
Colleges.
For this Hamas
Colleges
stuff.
are
they're hurting right now.
Divestments.
I just said Huntsman pulled all their funding, and then other people started pulling funding. As long as you're allowing anti-Semitic rallies on campuses.
That's what I'm saying. What if this kills that progressive?
You think this could wake the...
What if it does?
It would be amazing.
How wild is this? But if it goes wrong on Israel's side, it could strengthen it.
I don't know. The powers that be in this country, even the shadow government.
How many people, prior to Trump, how many people in 2004 were screaming, we got to stop this war in Afghanistan. We got to stop this war in Afghanistan. And all the right was like, you're wrong. You're horrible. But when Trump is president, those guys are now idolized because they were calling it early. See what I'm saying?
Sure.
The world is a beautiful thing.
Human beings are fickle.
We're fickle.
But they can see something and
we get hungry and thirsty and
propaganda is key because it's all what you're feeding them. And it is by design to create reactions that will get you what you want. And right now, I mean, I've seen people on Twitter, the dumpster fire known as X.
Twitx.
People always putting, you could see who and I've been very quick to not jump on and throw an Israeli flag on my profile. I stand with them, and I think the atrocities against them is horrible, but it brought me really back to the beginning in Ukraine, and everyone's turning their page to Ukraine, and I'm like, that's not aging well, right? And you can see on the Twitter feed, like when they're bad-mouthing you about some little fact you mention, and you see that in their profile, and you're like, oh yeah, this is no different than the vacuum. Which divides people. Vacuum is code, so we don't get.
Mm-hmm. So even though, as of late, they've allowed you to say it. Though they probably still deprioritize it if you do. I don't. But I want to talk about important news.
Okay.
This is important news. Joran Vandersloot. What an evil name.
I can't believe this is like a blast from the past. When you said this today, Vandersloot.
Oh, I know.
Sounds like a villain.
He finally admitted that he brutally attacked the American teenager on a beach in Aruba, bringing close to the case that had fascinated the American public since she vanished in 2005. All right, so Joran Vandersloot in 2005 took Natalie Holloway, a young girl that was on vacation. I think she was in between her freshman and...
Was it spring break?
Something, yeah. She was down there in Aruba, and so he hit on her, whatever, took her to a beach and bludgeoned her and killed her, and then they hauled her out in the ocean, throw her off the boat. And then, I want to say in 2011, he killed another girl down there.
See, I didn't know about it.
And he got charged in Peru. She was a Peruvian young lady.
That's right, in the hotel room.
Yes.
And they had video footage of them going in together and only him leaving.
Yes, so he's serving a 28-year prison sentence in Peru for 2010 murder of a 21-year-old student. Doesn't say her name yet, but I read it earlier today, but I am retarded and don't remember. But anyways, so... But here's the shady thing. So old Vanderdick face was trying to Beth Holloway, Natalie Holloway's mom. He was trying to blackmail her. He was like, hey, you send me $250,000 and I'll tell you where her remains are and everything else. And that's kind of where all this is bubbling from. Also, I'm sure he wants to get out of Peruvian jail pretty bad, and I'm sure he's hoping if he got found guilty up here in the United States.
Well, they're extraditing him, right?
Well, they're extraditing him for trial. But he gets to go back. He gets to serve Peru's jail term first.
Good for him.
So Peru is a much harder prison, so I'm sure he'll be well blown out before he gets up here.
Gross.
Beat up. But yeah, so he
So he had actually been, Beth Holloway, by the way,
She's a
was
badass.
a beast. Talk
She's
about
a
fighting
tough mother.
for your child. I mean, they made her famous overnight, and it did. It was on every news channel, then on every court show, and she never let this go away. Never let it go away. But for him to call her and tell her for $250,000, I'll give you knowledge of, I have knowledge of where her remains might be. And then it says he only received $25,100 from her after providing false information, according to prosecutors. So I didn't know she paid him anything.
Well, would you pay?
I'd pay anything.
I would pay anything. And then I'd go down there and be like, walk me to it. And then I'd bludgeon his ass. But anyway, so what he did is he pled guilty to killing. He pled guilty for the extortion charges, but he had to give a full, accurate.
I bet that's why it's $25,100. I bet $25,000
to draw him out.
It
probably was
probably to get the right crime, and she probably had prosecutors and FBI and all of that during that transaction.
Now, he's got a 28-year prison sentence in Peru, which means he's got, 10 left, 11 left.
Is that all? Has it been that long?
Yeah. Well, he killed her in 2005, but it was in 2010 that he killed. So, no, it's been 11 years, so he's got 19 or 17 left. So 17 years from now, he gets to start. So he's 38 now or 36 now. So in 11 years, he'll be 47. At 47, he'll get to start a 20-year prison sentence here in the United States. The thing that bums me out is he's a rich kid. So he's going to get out. He would never have to work anyway. I would like to see a probation thing to where he can't go live off mommy and daddy's money and he has to go like work at a butcher's shop or something shitty.
Though. If he gets 20-year sentence for extortion, he has to provide a full, complete, accurate. Did they give him immunity?
He did. That
on
was
her murder
his plea
charge?
deal.
So he got immunity for murder.
Yes, he got a plea deal. Now,
if they were giving him 20 years anyway for extortion, why the hell would they give him that?
If you were the mom,
I want him executed.
Well, yes, but would you settle to find out exactly what happened to your daughter? Would you trade that for a 20-year term for him?
To me, okay, for my daughter, if there was any chance in hell I thought that I could find her body and take it home and bury her, I think that very
the bad
well.
news is they won't be able to because
I thought a long time ago.
Dumped her in the ocean.
Because there were reports from those other guys that said they threw the blood in the water to attract sharks, and they threw the body in the water.
Those other guys haven't been charged, and it's crazy. But as he said, is he took her to the okay, we'll go like this. Let me cruise up to where it starts. Vandersloot, on October 3rd, told through his lawyer, Kevin Butler, described brutally attacking Miss Holloway on the beach after she rejected his sexual advantages. He described wanting to be dropped off with Miss Holloway a distance from the hotel where she was staying, like he had an MO. This is how he played the game. Like
she graduated from high school.
Yeah, she was just young. Like he would meet him at a club, get a taxi and have the taxi drop him off early, and then he would have time
to
walking him to the
beach.
hotel to ply his wares. Or I'll bet he had raped before.
Oh.
I shouldn't have said that word. They hate that word. I'll bet he had SA'd before. I'm sure he has, because he had this game that
this
he would
was
play. It was an MO. So anyway, she just graduated high school in Alabama.
So she was on a graduation
So he drops
trip.
him off early so he might get a chance with her. He said they began kissing while lying on the beach, but she was like, no, I just want to kiss. I don't want to, have intercourse with some rando that I meet down, and he's Dutch and, ugly, and his last name's Vandersloot. And it just sounds like a shady name. But anyways, he persisted, and she kicked him in the crotch. Then he kicked her in the face really hard. At that point, he said she was possibly even dead, as because he's and even dead, but definitely unconscious. Then he picked up a large cinder block and bludgeoned her in the head. He brought her to the ocean's edge in a half pull, half walk, wading up to his knees. He says he pushed her into the water and then he walked home.
I don't believe that. And the guys he was with said they chummed
the water.
The
they
waters,
took him out on
and
a
then
boat.
they dumped her. And the thing is that would make more sense because had he just put her body in, she would have come back.
Yep, 100%. I want to say this young lady, good on her for not giving in to primal desires on a beach in Peru on a vacation. Good on Beth for being a tough mom. I like that. I like that there's tough moms like that. And I've said
but this
forever.
makes me sick. Like, I'm okay. Good for her for fighting, and I don't want to ever. This case broke my heart, and it still does. But girls and women, let's teach our daughters to stay in groups, especially in foreign countries, to not be alone with boys on a beach in a foreign country, and watch your drink when you're in a nightclub.
For sure. For sure.
There is so much of this that happens every single day, and it's horrific. And the reason it got so much attention, a lot of people say, is because she was a pretty white girl in Aruba.
It got attention because she was a young high school. Now, pretty white girl didn't hurt.
Because she had a mother that was all over
and
it.
she was a bulldog, and he was.
And his father was well connected in the Peruvian government.
Yep.
And
he's super rich.
And it was shut down constantly and going nowhere. And that always breeds conspiracy, which gets the American people going. And next thing you know, Court TV's there every single day. And Beth was a bulldog about it.
Dude, she's awesome.
I'm sure though it totally owned her and probably still does. And I would never wish that on any mother or any young girl for that matter.
No.
It's so absolutely.
I like Dave says, he will get shanked sooner or later. The world is round, and what goes around comes around. I think he's going to get blown out. I think
he's already been. I mean, he's in a Peruvian jail and he's a cute white boy.
I think that rusty balloon knot is well stretched.
I'm surprised that someone hasn't killed him yet, but just to be famous.
Well, and he may be under like special protection or whatever.
But you know, when you mentioned his name, I knew it, but I couldn't think of it. And that's what's weird, is it's getting forgotten. And now that it's back in, hopefully it gets enough attention. And in Peru, they may not even care about this case.
Yeah.
But if he gets brought to America, he's going to be the pretty new thing on the block.
Well, he'll be old then. He'll be old. Then. He'll be well past his prime. But that doesn't mean he won't get attention.
It's true. I
hope
he gets plenty.
Tank. Tank says, "Hey, you want to play house tonight?"
Oh my goodness! I don't need any more visual. I pray for.
What do you want to be, the
Beth
husband or the wife?
Holloway, because I can only imagine what she's gone through this whole time, and to fight that hard for that long, and to finally get this, and imagine the mental games you're getting played with by this piece of crap. I'll tell you where her body is, and knowing he can't provide the bones.
Yeah.
Just looking for money. And then knowing
evil. How evil is this?
The police were in
dirtbag?
on this, hiding this.
Brutalized this young lady. He kills this young lady.
She rejects him. Oh.
Then he makes the body go away, however he does it. And then he tries extorting the mother for money to... this kid is world-class piece of crap.
Right. Then he murders another young girl.
And probably under the same circumstances.
Except for they went to the hotel together, I believe.
Yeah, they were in the hotel, but she probably said no.
Or they were in a relationship and fought, and he's like, I've gotten away with it before.
Yeah, it became his MO. No, honestly, we should treat this guy like a rabid dog. We should hold his head after we've killed him for rabies tests. Make sure he's okay. Dave says he should get a job with the FBI or CIA. Don't forget, They're ATF. But anyways, no dogs were harmed in his actions. Maybe the ATF is not the right one for him.
I'm sure this guy has killed dogs his whole life. He is he's the epitome of a serial killer.
Seriously.
The difference is he's handsome and he had well-connected
Seriously,
parents.
I'll bet he liked
and he
fires
made a
and pizza
mistake
bed.
in Peru.
Well, here's
If
the
he would have
mistake.
been in Aruba when he killed that girl in the hotel, probably would have been the same thing all over again.
Because
his
the
dad
mistake
was connected.
Is his dad did not
Hold him accountable.
his dad you can't spoil your kids like that. You've got to teach your kids right from wrong. But yeah,
And seriously, he still could have had his child, his son, say, yes, I was with her. Yes, we fought, but I didn't, or it was an accident or whatever. Like he said, we got in a fist fight and she was unconscious. I mean, had he said that, it's hard to charge someone, especially in Aruba.
It is.
And he just shut everything out.
It's the extortion that busted him.
And he loved the fame.
He
got off on the fame.
I'm glad he tried extorting the mother, Beth. I'm glad he did, because now he's caught, and now he's going to be old.
Did he do it from jail?
Old and bloated. I think he did it. I think he did it right before he killed that girl.
I almost wonder if he did it from jail.
It might have been. He might have been trying to cover his charges. 2010. Okay. And when did he kill the girl, sir? In 2010. It might have been while he was on trial.
Trying to maybe pay a lawyer or something.
Maybe his dad cut him off. Maybe his dad finally said, look here, you little...
Maybe he killed his dad.
I don't know.
Only
if his dad didn't give in to his whims first. But
he is such a predator.
Yeah, Joran Vandersloot, dirtbag of the century. This guy, and just look at that face. He looks like he's a dirtbag. He got shark eyes.
Where's he going in there in that picture? Being extradited to the United States.
This is when they're extradited, and he's kind of old now. He died. Oof. But anyways, yeah, I am. I don't know. That one, when that came out, what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, that was just heavy for me. I was like, wow, that I hadn't heard any of those names in so long.
Yeah, that was me when you mentioned it. So let's talk for a second about Carolyn Pippin. How I watched your interview.
Yes, that was a good interview. I liked her. Okay, I'll tell you right now. So far, we've had Stags, we've had Pippin on, and I mean, good offerings. I guess there's, as we know of right now, another Republican that is pondering. Yeah, Brad Wilson. And I look forward to having him on and talking with him. As you know, I am not a Republican. Yet. You know what? Your party has to get some more principles before it can join.
My party has to pick a Speaker of the House and get off of their butts. Are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. Let's go about that. What are your thoughts?
I am angry. I am so angry.
What are your thoughts on first McCarthy being ousted?
He made promises to the Freedom Caucus that he didn't keep.
Okay.
So being ousted, I don't think his timing was good. I don't know all the details that I feel like I can openly and honestly give you a full opinion on that. I think, though, when you have an empty seat and you have someone like Jim Jordan's name through in there, who was a supporter of McCarthy, but didn't want this to happen, where we're sitting on our hands. Meanwhile, they were peacefully protesting at the Capitol not so long ago. They weren't parading, though. That's the difference. When you parade in there, you go to prison underneath the cells.
I mean, none of them had an American flag.
Oh, well, there's that.
How scary must it be in the capital of the nation that people of that nation is waving the flag of that nation? It's a direct threat. Holly, I don't know if
that's insane.
And nobody was wearing a costume.
So after that little fun thing, and we don't have a speaker, and then Jim Jordan says, well, I'll run. Mm-hmm. And people in America I'm looking on X and they're talking about, well, we don't want Jim Jordan. And I'm like, you wouldn't want anyone that's not a Democrat. Most people that are chiming in, as a Republican, I want somebody.
I don't think the Democrats get a choice on who gets in, do they?
Well, they think they do.
They can vote against someone.
Right,
but
which means the Republicans have to all vote together.
Yeah, now.
Because there's not enough.
But the Republicans are
wiggle room.
split. I think we're having a reorientation of the Republican Party, and I'm interested to see how this goes.
So am I. Because
I think
to me,
the Democrats will experience this in the next couple of cycles.
If the Republican Party doesn't get their poop in a group, and I'm serious, if they can't get together on picking someone, and Jim Jordan is a fine person to choose, he's already put his money where his mouth is. He's done these committees. He is absolutely committed to getting to the bottom of certain things, and he's shown that, and he has a great record. 95%, I think, according to Freedom Works or something, of voting pro-America principles, according to a very conservative group. If we can't get him in there,
I like Jim Jordan.
I think he's awesome. I think he's
do you
a great.
think they're being held hostage for a different point? Do you think some Republicans are not voting for him to make a different point that doesn't surround him?
Yeah. They don't want a conservative as speaker. There are more moderate Republicans who
is it
want
moderate
someone.
Republicans that don't want him?
I think so. I mean, they're saying the establishment types are saying we liked McCarthy because we knew he could.
Because he was our boy.
Well, he could work with both sides, which no one can work with both sides. No one has ever. It's their side or no side. That's how it works. They don't compromise. The Democrat Party. If they say it's going to be Nancy, everybody jumps on the board, and it's Nancy.
Oh,
the Republicans
Nancy was
are
a bulldog. Nancy knew how to keep her people in shape.
Let's just have nobody. And I don't mind if they don't have a speaker and they can't vote to spend $100 billion, $60 billion going to Ukraine with a B on top of the other 200 approximately billion that's gone to Ukraine. If we don't have someone to do that vote, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, that's what Molly says. I'm just fine with them doing nothing. Big smiley face.
Absolutely.
Dave says, exactly. No news is good news. And then Dave follows up with a question.
How did our Utah representatives vote?
Yes. Do
now,
you know?
I personally called my Utah representative, as I hope all of you did. It is kind of tough for us because we're in the middle of a race, and Chris Stewart has.
Yep, he's getting ready to be done.
Right, and Chris Stewart supported McCarthy.
Okay.
And
what was his thoughts on the Jordan vote?
I didn't ask. I haven't talked to him.
Okay.
I just left my preference with the office. As an American, I want somebody who's conservative, who's going to pull those purse strings tight and say, "Look, enough's enough."
Matt Gaetz initiating this voting out of McCarthy?
I think there is so much going on in D.C. that the American people should know about. And I believe his intent was, yes, he's going to get a lot of popularity with those 30-second snippets, but he's asking for accountability. And if they're going to require accountability on the behalf of Trump, and that's what they're all touting, is that we're going to have him accountable, we should be just as damn likely to ask for the same when it comes to the administration now. And that's what he wanted. And he wanted Biden to be investigated. He wanted Hunter to be investigated. He wants an audit of Ukraine. He wants to know what's happening. All these things, which regular folks like you and I should all have information of. Then Jim Jordan is chairing a lot of these meetings. And then you get McCarthy to say, well, we're going to put a committee together to consider impeachment. We're going to put a committee to committee this? That's a lot of hurry up and wait. And they indicted Trump, or they impeached Trump twice in 4 years.
Yeah, they
on far, far, far less than what they have Biden.
Of course,
on.
they had that impeachment papers drawn up before
second
Trump
he was
even
elected.
took the oath.
Right. And that's the thing. It's why is it wrong for us to demand fair play?
Do you think Gates is regretting it now that all of the Biden investigation has been stalled out now?
I don't know. I don't know if he ever expected it not to be. Of course they're going to stall
Do you
it.
think it was maybe just a shot across the bow? I think he thought. I wonder if he thought the Democrats would back him because McCarthy just got done making a deal for the Democrats. I wonder if he thought the Democrats would back him and that would put some egg on McCarthy's face, which would turn McCarthy a little more conservative for the final.
They kind of did back him, though.
No, they didn't. Every Democrat voted him out. Everyone.
Oh,
in
no,
uniform.
that's what I mean. I thought you meant to
No,
get rid of him.
I think he thought that that the Democrats would back McCarthy.
Oh, I
which
see.
would put egg on McCarthy's face and make McCarthy kind of act conservative for the last year and a half of this cycle. And he could get some stuff done. Either that or he's an agent of chaos and let it happen. But I don't think he expected him to be voted out and us to be sitting in limbo forever. Because right now, only 8 Republicans voted against McCarthy. All the Democrats were in lockstep.
Yeah, it's too close a margin.
Oh, which was wild. After he just made a deal with Democrats, which I think McCarthy is like,
the Democrats want chaos in the Republican Party,
well,
and
of
they
course.
need to blame
and I think the
Republicans
would be happy if they had the same thing in the Democrat Party.
Sure. They need to make the Republicans look weak, and they need to make Republicans look like they're not doing anything. And yet some of us actually like the fact that they're not doing anything. We like the fact they're not spending our money.
I know us black pillars are just fine with it because, again, we're going to watch it burn. So enjoy the clown show.
Well, I
I'm
would like
serious.
to see Jim Jordan
Honestly,
get the seat and actually do what he says he's going to do.
Every morning when Congress opens, for business, they should either play that clown song when they drive the little car in, or the Benny Hill song. They've got to pick from one or the other.
Well, now that there's no dress code, they should all be required to dress as clowns.
The dress code's back, but that was in the Senate, right?
Oh, did you love that appearance on Colbert when
I don't know.
what's his name?
You know how often
Dress
I've
code
watched
guy?
Colbert? You're talking about Fetterman.
Fetterman. He gets on there and he says, "You know what I've learned while being there is that there's really a lot of stupid people in the Senate." And I don't know if that was an on purpose, where he's speaking like I'm actually telling you, or he didn't catch the irony of it, him saying that.
I think he was playing into it. One, Fetterman has been a big call out against the Democrat Socialists of America and BLM. He's been a huge one. It's been wild. Fetterman actually, he came out and called them out on that shit they did with Palestine. It's wild.
I think you have to. And if you're going to open your mouth, I think you have to condemn the atrocities that have happened over there.
It's just, my argument, I don't know if I'm pro-Israel, but I'm not anti-Israel. I'm going to be ambivalent on that. Just because I don't know. One, I don't think the existence of Israel behooves my life at all. One, and also our hawkish stance on Israel hasn't done a lot of good for the people of the United States. We have kind of got the short end of the stick a few times when it came to the point of fact with that.
I don't know what you mean. Are you awake?
Yeah. There is, but I don't want to go down crazy paths with that, but I do not want also I do not want, you're reading that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, try not to read too deep into it.
1967,
Yeah.
the 6-Day War. Well,
Anyways, we can go into that later.
when later? You mean another day?
When we're not recording, because this is a very touchy subject. But I don't want Israel to disappear. But I mean, we have seen some hawkish actions in our support for Israel, which in no other time will I hear the words, an ethnicity deserves to have a state.
I guess, I mean, I know what you're saying, absolutely.
Would
But
we ever
we're
say,
talking about
like, would we ever
2,000
say,
years of,
let's say,
compare them to the American Indians.
pick a northern European country. Pick a northern.
No, let's say the American Indians. They were here
Okay.
from the beginning of time.
Sure.
They occupied the land,
Uh-huh.
and our government said, you guys can be over here. But we didn't say, sorry,
And then
we
over
got to
there,
kill you all.
And then over there. Oh,
They did, but I'm saying nowadays.
nowadays,
Because
yeah.
we're talking 2,000 years. The Israelis have gone through this battle to exist for a really long time.
Sure.
And the American Indian as well. I mean, they were here first. This is their land. But in this day and age, we would never say they don't deserve to exist.
I'm not saying they don't.
And we would actually say they deserve to have their own lands. They deserve to have, I mean, they call them reservations, but
Yeah, controlled by the U.S. government, not allowed to proffer any industry or have free markets. So, I mean, if anyone's ever been to most reservations that's west of the Mississippi, they're a boom.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah, because the government keeps them hostage.
What's the alternative?
Free market. Let them incorporate, become their own cities, and design their own future and not have the BIA design it for them.
And then no government involvement. So no government funds.
No, the same government we have.
They would have under the state, not the United States.
Sure, let
I
them.
love it.
I said let them incorporate and become towns.
I
Let
think that makes a lot of
Kayenta
sense.
Become a city.
But then they can't put casinos on because they're under the laws of the land that they're living in.
Sure, there are no casinos in any of the Utah.
But there would be no
reservations.
monthly funding or
Sure,
federal.
there'll be no stipend, much like welfare, that keeps you enough
Right.
under the poverty line that you never have anything, but so close to it
Yeah,
that you never try for more.
True. I think that free market would be amazing for them, actually. And they would be governing their own city and they'd be putting in profits and people could move to the city and pay taxes in that city if they wanted. People that were not necessarily American Indians, if they so let them and start bringing business in, you're right. They'd be thriving.
Bingo.
But that's what Israel is too. They've become their own state, and they started thriving, and their people, many are thriving. So they deserve to exist.
But I have a general stance on everything. I don't want to get involved anymore.
I think
I have
that a
become
lot of
super
Americans are that way.
isolationist. But I also don't want to see Israel lose face on the world stage to a point to where they have to figure this out alone.
Well, and I don't want to see human beings.
And I also don't want to see Palestinians killed in mass. I'll just lay that out there.
I don't want to see human beings, period, slaughtered
Yep.
and mutilated and
I still think
hurt,
Here's my dream.
used as human shields.
My dream is tomorrow the Palestinians rise up and all point their fingers at Hamas and escort the IDF right up to
revolution.
Hamas's door, and Hamas gets taken out and tried in legitimate courts. And then the Palestinians apply with Israel, say, we would like to become a province, a state, a protectorate of you, whatever. We
a
understand.
two-state solution, which they've designed.
No,
They've,
I want a one-state solution. I want them to say, we want to become a part of you.
Oh, it never
We
happened.
want to eat the bowl of shit for you to dislike us, but we're going to work off of Martin Luther King's project. We'll be lesser citizens, whatever. We'll beg, and eventually
Israel
they will climb
hires
up.
Palestinians
Sure they
to
do.
work in
and
there
they
already.
educate them, and they do all that. But they will whatever they need to do to become a part of that prosperous organization there in the Middle East. They'll move up. They'll become a part of it. They'll slowly grow. They'll incorporate, and then we look down the road. 100 years, the Palestinians and Israelis are all Israeli, and they're all prospering, and they function just like if you had whatever religion, a Buddhist neighbor. You guys may not go to the same church on Sunday. Your practices aren't even on the same day, but you guys both prosper. You guys both trade with each
and
other.
you both protect the Holy Land together.
Yeah.
You both have the interest of protecting those sites.
Ta-da.
That's a dream, though. You
That's
have to
a dream.
forget 2,000 years of hate
Yeah.
and sadness,
I
and
forget a lot of stuff.
and the Jewish people would have to forgive.
Not quite 2,000 years of hate. I think
I'm just
Islam was born
throwing it out
800
there.
AD, was it? 400 AD. Anyways. But yeah.
Islam wasn't Muhammad around with Jesus Christ?
No, he was not.
Are you sure about that?
I am positive.
I thought they were around at the same time.
Well, compared to us, yeah.
No, it was Muhammad with the Prophet Muhammad.
.632 current era, which means 632 years after Jesus.
Who was with him when to preach and confirm the monotheistic teachings of Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and the other prophets? So who was it that was around? Oh, come on. I'm not left-handed.
Oh, like a monkey in a football. If you get it, you know.
Okay, so all right, this makes for bad
This is
radio.
a great show right now. Anyways, next week we're going to do Muhammad studies with Jared and
Next
Holly.
week we'll watch paint dry.
Anyways, no. Yeah, Muhammad come around after, and then it was,
But he believed, like Molly's saying, they believed that Jesus was a prophet.
yeah, Isa.
But they don't believe he was the Son of God.
No, they don't believe in a son of God. They believe that God would not have a son.
Sons are the best, though.
The same thing that the Jews believe.
Well, they believe that there is going to be a Son of God. I
No,
thought.
they believe there's
But
going
he's
to be a
just not here
Messiah,
yet.
not a son of God. God would not have a son.
That's good. Well, that's
Anyways, fun show. The Atheist Explains Religion.
well. I want to thank you guys.
Yeah,
I
thanks for
love
joining
you
us.
for being on.
Yeah.
I've missed you, O'Malley.
This was fun.
Good to see you.
Yes.
Thanks for noticing my hair. It went super dark. Did you notice?
Your
Yeah.
hair looks beautiful and
Guys
curly.
never noticed. No, the color.
Oh, it is a little darker
It's
than
a lot
normally.
darker.
Normally, it's more the darker color is normally the color of your lighter color.
Thank you. Duh, duh, duh. You literally, I could isolate that audio. Duh, 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 duh.
That's how I normally
It's a
sound.
long night for you. 3 shows tonight.
I know, and my
you've never looked more-
This isn't flannel. This is
It's cotton, like high sheen cotton. It's almost shiny.
yeah. I'll wear flannel next time.
This fancy snaps.
But I know.
Are you not drinking tonight either? It's a
I am
happy
not,
hour.
just water. I know. I thought about grabbing a beer when I went out there, but I was like, man, I've been blowing the doors off it for now 6 hours.
Oh my word.
man,
You did 2-hour shows for each?
If I throw a beer into this mix, that'll be crazy.
Oh my word, no wonder David was sent home.
Yeah, Dave's like, I'm popping smoke. He called for a dust off. And he got an evac.
I
Molly,
love being on the
thanks
show
for
with
joining
you.
us. Hey, I love it too.
It's a lot of fun.
And we got news coming up, but you won't hear about it for a month or maybe a little bit longer. But anyways, we're going to have Holly on all the time, as usual. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, don't forget, you got voting coming up next month.
Yep.
And we are inviting, we're just getting the date finalized, so potentially for November 9th, if you'd like to come and meet Carolyn Pippin in person, as well as the candidate for governor that Phil Lyman, that was on this show a couple weeks ago. We will advertise on here as far as tell you where and what time, and we welcome you. Even if you're not from our county, you'd be welcome because these 2 seats represent the state of Utah.
Come meet them. And also, everyone, I'd be remiss if I didn't say we've got a shooting course coming up next month on the 11th. Anyways, right around the Veterans Memorial Weekend or whatever deal they're throwing on. But we got a pistol course coming up. If you're interested right now, gun sales are off the charts. All the gun shows I'm following, they're saying Jewish people are buying guns in droves. T-Rex Arms was talking about it. Everyone.
Wait, so what's this pistol?
It's the defensive pistol when you went through.
Oh, Mally Mays?
Uh-huh. It's coming up in November. If you want to sign up for it, you can reach out here. You reach out to O'Malley May. You can go through DefenseSenseTactical.com. Get signed up. If you look on the happy hour page, I'm going to throw an ad up on there so that you can punch links and go right to it.
And for other people, if you're interested in showing ads on the show, we're cheap.
Yeah, dirt cheap. If you build the ad,
and for an example, I'll get free advertising right now about this shooting class. You, male, female, whoever you are, young, old, this class is amazing. This class gives you confidence. It gives you knowledge, and it tests you, and it's just you against you. Yep. And it gives you so much perspective, and it's so helpful, and it changed my life. It changed my life. Easily
the best pistol course I've ever been through. And okay, I'm a firm believer if you're going to buy a firearm that you should go out and pursue some training with it, because if you've got to use it and you don't know how, and you haven't tested yourself on performing with that firearm, not just point and squeeze, but putting a new magazine in it, how to pull it in and out of your holster, how to safety inspect it, things like that. Pursue some training. If you're not going to go through O'Malley's course, pursue it somewhere. Pursue a higher level and get it going. And yes, you are O'Malley. You are you're hands down the best pistol instructor I've ever had.
Well, and
I've
me,
had quite a few of them.
I think you're a great pistol instructor as well. But O'Malley, she changed my life.
That's
and I say that because
I got the dance moves.
There's so many women out there who know they want to carry and they want to feel confident when they do. And there's nothing like knowing. I mean, I lost all my guns in a terrible boating accident, as you know.
Rod and Gun Club's a bastard.
I mean, it was terrible. But if I were, where I used to be, where I actually had guns, I always know where it is. I know how to use it. And the beauty of it is I'm facing a situation and you never know what you'll be through. But I feel like I can protect myself in a way that I've never felt before. And there's nothing like that.
It's empowering.
It is empowering. It's empowering. It's also, you sleep better at night, and you teach your kids that it is a tool and the way to use it. And it's not a firing range where you're 30 feet away. You are in real life distances of when an attack will really potentially happen in the distance, and it's closer than you realize. And then you know what you get out of it, which I saw in the other women that took the course with me, is a self-confidence that not only can you safely handle the firearm and you can hit the target. I couldn't believe what a great shot I was. I couldn't believe it. And then the fact that I can drop a clip, reload a clip, and just keep going, and that I'm actually yelling and using my voice, and I become 10 feet tall and same size as a would-be attacker. And it just makes it an even playing field. And so for any woman out there,
imagine if Natalie Holloway had a...
She wouldn't have been able to take it to Aruba.
A Glock 43. Yeah, Aruba's a piece of shit for not letting people do that. Or,
you can't own a gun in Israel, and they're starting to let people own guns.
Some people can. There was one kibbutz that was defended. This is one of my favorite stories. So,
the pistol story?
No, a couple of teachers, but they met in the IDF. Romance, young love. They're walking the fence together, and that's why we do not go to Aruba. But anyways, they're in a kibbutz, and they had gone through all the steps to own firearms. They both had assault weapons. Brand new baby, young couple. They're teachers above all else, and they were some of them pro-Palestinian, progressive
Muslims?
Israelis. Oh no, they're Israelis. But
are they Jewish or are they Muslim?
They're Jewish, yeah. Okay. There's a lot of that. There's leftists in Israel.
Oh, I know.
And there's crazy rightists in Israel too. But anyways, they defended their kibbutz, and their baby is alive because of that. Brand new baby. Baby's like...
Okay, so did you hear the one about the people in the safe room on the Gaza Strip? A guy and his family was in a safe room, which most houses in the Gaza Strip have safe rooms.
Since 2000 and whenever, 2008, I think, or 7, all new houses are required to have a safe room.
So he's in there, but there's a problem with the lock, and some of these dirtbags came in and tried to break through, and then they couldn't get in, so they start shooting through the door. So, and he's trying to protect his family. They've got a dresser in front of it. They got everyone pushing up against it. The bolts don't penetrate, but they realize they're not going to get in. So they go out and they get a rocket launcher. And he can hear this is happening. And he's like, he has a pistol in there. He starts shooting through the door. The pistol hits the guy with the rocket launcher.
Nice.
And it makes him drop it, and it scares them all off. One pistol against an army.
Outstanding.
That is why every American should own a firearm.
And become proficient at it.
That's proficient, and that knows it's a tool, understands it's a tool, and doesn't use it for...
So Mallory says, they say to fear the ones who compliment you more than your enemies. You have nothing to fear from me, except that, I don't know. My awesome dance moves, maybe.
You don't have to fear me unless you attack me, girl. and then I have to show you my moves that I learned from you.
And she does correct us. There is no such thing as safe, but there is such a thing as safer. But the reason I suggest to go through the course is not for safety. It's for efficiency. I want efficient gunfighters out there. And I am a preacher. I am a licensed minister, and I want to bring more people to my flock.
I think that you need to have confident, knowledgeable gun owners.
Yes.
And I think anyone, I know that nothing makes people buy guns like a Democrat president. Obama was selling the hell out of them. And then Biden said, hold my beer.
Obama should have gotten an award. But yeah, Biden, well, even the end of Trump, don't forget COVID. COVID got heavy when Trump was president. So I think chaos sells guns, because when it all boils down, there's only one person you can absolutely rely on for your safety. Because
You hope.
you can say you can rely on your husband, but he went to work today, right?
Yeah, you hope. But, that's
You can
sad to
only
say, 'cause
rely on yourself.
some people are going to fight like hell, and then you get something like Hamas breaking into your house with 10 guys. And Chad Prather was saying that I tell my wife every time, if it's you against a bunch of people, you unload this clip, but leave one in it for you and one in it for our kids, so that you don't get taken by somebody. Because if they take you, you'll be tortured, and I don't, and he says that, but I think he means a lot of it. Like, you're lucky to live in a country that allows you to have this responsibility. And I don't call it a privilege. I call it a responsibility. You need to protect yourself. You need to protect your family. You need to protect your neighbors. And I wish more countries realized that an armed society doesn't get invaded like an unarmed one.
Well, and also, if your neighbors are on the same page as you, you become a phalanx and you defend each other.
Yeah, you become a militia if you have to. You become an army if you have to. And, some people aren't comfortable with guns, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But they should at least be comfortable with the fact that that tool can save your life. And
I'm not comfortable with single-ply toilet paper, but every time I'm in Home Depot, I get to try it out.
No, you really? Oh, you mean in the public restrooms? Cheap bastards.
I know.
That's horrible.
They get rolls that are like this
My
big
gosh,
around.
get a tree or something in there.
Good, a
leaf would give you more protection.
Some 80 grit sandpaper would be fine. Anyways, we love you too, O'Malley May. We got to cut this out, though. I've kept her here till 11:13. She might be in trouble when she gets home. We'll see. But thanks for coming on, Holly.
Thank you, and please help me advertise the meetings. And if you live in
Yes.
Stansbury Park,
Yes.
please go to the meeting on Tuesday night,
Stansbury Park, Tuesday night at the Clubhouse.
6 p.m.
They're raising your taxes, and you should go there and tell
by
them.
100%.
Yeah, 100%
In the
tax raise.
Greenbelt and at the service agency.
Yes. Yes.
So Jared is going to go. He's going to go live.
I'm going to go in her steed.
In my stead, yes. And
Yes.
then I will be able to be online, and so I'll be throwing questions out maybe in the comments. So
I will be a mouthpiece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear me a fine mauve colored dress. Is that mauve?
No, why don't you wear like navy with some
What
flag
color
shoes?
is that?
I think it's burgundy.
Burgundy. What color is mauve?
Mauve is like a dark pink, I think. More
okay.
pinks.
It's a word. Anyways, I'm going to get me a burgundy dress and some
Flannel.
heels, a flannel dress, a camouflage dress, and I am going to go as Holly. I was going to say blonde wig, but now
It's not blonde. This is brown. It's chestnut. It's the same color as
chestnut.
my daughter's hair.
a chestnut wig, and you know what our idea for Halloween, me and Katie's?
What?
I'm going to be Caitlin, and she'll be Bruce.
Oh, I should not love that, but I do.
That
so
sounds
much.
awesome, doesn't it?
You're going to shave?
No, hell no. I'm going as Caitlin. Caitlin straight up.
Oh, man.
Hairy legs and all. And she's going to be Bruce. She's going to get the shorty shorts with the slits on the side and
the
the
Olympic
tube socks.
medal?
Yeah. Wheaties Bruce and Vanity Fair Clayton.
She should have a Wheaties box around
Dude,
her head
seriously.
with her face in it. And
Seriously.
That
And then
would
I'll
be
have a
awesome.
Vanity Fair one. Because
That would be
remember,
awesome.
I am Woman of the Year.
Oh, yeah. And they just made another Woman of the Year for...
First year as a woman, and I took it.
They just gave that Dylan Mulvaney a Woman of the Year in the LGBT.
That was the Harvard.
Amazing.
I think it's Harvard has two weekly gay magazines or gay whatever. This is the best time to live.
Women, if you are gay,
This is Benny Hill.
you should be so angry.
The Benny Hills, the shows that were ridiculous that we used to watch, we are living them right now. This is it.
It's stranger than fiction.
This is the clown world.
This is why the Babylonian Bee or Babylon Bee, they can't think up stories to write because it's just too crazy.
Dude, I am serious. They're getting, you know what? They probably have a meeting and say, we're pushing the limits today. It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And by the time they hit send, it's happening.
It's happening.
Oh, anyways, you guys have a good night.
Have a great weekend.
Thank Holly. Yeah. Be safe. Humana. We'll see you later.